Pavão, Chegado. It's amazing to have you guys finally, in person and podcast. I've been wanting to talk to you guys for a long time.
Thank you,
An honor,
Alberto.
really
Thank
an honor.
Excited to be here.
It's great to sit here and talk with the legend. Thank you so much, man.
Professor Crane.
You guys are legends. You guys have been just doing such great work in the area, Capoeira, like over the years. And I wasn't in it. I just saw like the signage, and I just saw in Eagle Rock in that area. I just saw I knew you guys were doing good work without even knowing. I just saw it was quality, and the thing was growing.
Right on.
And just seeing other capoeira, other capoeiras in different areas, I just saw you guys were professionals. And then when Quebrada came over and started, teaching here, and then I got to meet you guys and get to know you better.
So exciting.
It was really, really cool.
It was like serendipity. I was really happy to have him connect with you, and then us be able to forge a relationship. That's been so vital to not only our growth, but our professional development as well.
We started back in 2005.
Yes.
And it's been an amazing adventure.
2005, actually, like teaching our own students,
ourselves, our own students in
training.
Our own class.
It's been about 25 years.
Right.
25 years.
Pavão, you started with Capoeira?
Started with Capoeira. I was a dancer before Capoeira.
Okay.
So.
And you grew up in Glendale, right?
I did.
You're Brazilian grew up in Glendale.
Brazilian American, grew up in Glendale. I found Capoeira when I was in college, so I actually found it in the Bay Area. And then when I came down after graduation and living there for a few years, I continued training here. So that's how we met.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys met, you started Capoeira as well? Is that how
I had started Capoeira before. Actually, it started, I'm from San Francisco. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. And I found Capoeira in the Bay Area first. I'm an actor, so my mom actually found a Capoeira class that was for movement through the San Jose Civic Light Opera at the time. And
Civic Opera, huh?
Yeah, so it was like a movement class.
Yeah.
For actors.
For actors. It was
Cool.
Mestre Vaquinho, who is up there in San Jose. It was Capoeira of San Jose at the time. And I started a program there, and then moved around, graduated high school.
You started a Capoeira program there?
I started, that was
Training.
my first,
Gotcha.
that was my first time training Capoeira. Then I moved down to LA, trained a little bit in LA while I was here, and I moved to New York for my second year of college, and I joined Capoeira Abadá in New York with Mestranda Edna Lima.
Okay.
So I had my yellow cord in Abadá before I moved back to LA, found Capoeira Brazil, and that's when we met.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys met down here.
We met down here, and it was, at the time, it was like Capoeira was just blowing up. It was the early 2000s, and classes were, 50, 60 people, and it was amazing. The energy was phenomenal. Mestre Boneco, who's our teacher,
Mestre is just...
he brings a lot of
just
vibe.
You gotta believe, you gotta understand, like,
Just shake his
him,
hand, right?
like him, like 20 years ago. I mean, even now, imagine him 20 years ago. He was just a
radiating
massive,
energy and
explosion of Capoeira. He's an atomic type of person.
We were really lucky because that was kind of like a time period when all these really talented young adults came together under Mestre Boneco's wing, and we built like a really solid, like old school crew. We're still friends to this day. Everyone is like super close. It's probably about 20 of us that are from the old school, still active, still training. I mean, everyone's has businesses and babies and families, but the infrastructure that he built, he really taught us, Mestre Boneco taught us how to build community through his vibe and his energy, and that like laid the foundation for what we then went on to build.
Really how to hold it together, really how to how to show up, be present, be there for your friends, be there for your group. He really instilled that in us and we were like all like in our mid-20s, so we were all just vibing. We were going to auditions and trying to get Capoeira on the map, trying to be on whatever we could as far as like promotional or television or film.
Sean did a lot of commercials, a lot of we both did music videos, commercials. He did the
Videos,
Grammys
commercials.
with Gwen Stefani. I mean, just a lot of stuff back in the day as young people in the capoeira world when it was just huge. But I think for me, that time period really helped kind of solidify the importance of bringing people together in your space, creating a community that you can support each other when training and support each other outside of training. I think that's something that we've tried to continue cultivating as we build what we have now. So.
Yeah, like Mr. Boneco he was big. You know, I lived in Brazil in the 90s, and he was in some soap operas. Like, you know, they were huge, right? They're like, everybody watches the soap operas. And he's in the soap opera, and he was famous.
He was
super famous.
Super famous.
Yeah. So going back, you're going through the tunnels, and a guy sees your shirt.
Sees my shirt, and again, I'm on the bus. So, like, this is just, I'm not expecting to talk to anybody.
How many millions of people live in Rio?
All the millions of people that live in Rio. And he just came at me like, yo, you train with Mestre Boneco? Oh, my God, I used to train with him back in 1990, whatever it was. I couldn't understand the number. And I was just so kind of taken by what he was saying. And I was like, this is the most like authentic shit ever, because this dude on the bus
randomly,
like literally
in Brazil.
randomly, I was like, I'm in the right place at that moment. I was like, I mean, before, but at that moment specifically, I was like, yo, this is where I'm supposed to be right now.
There were so many stories about, you know, like as a martial arts teacher, you've probably helped thousands of people in your life, and I know that, like, for us, we've seen our teacher do the same, like really help build people's lives and give them, I mean, and in Brazil even more, like pull people out of poverty.
Yeah.
So those elements of training capoeira or jiu-jitsu or any art that really people have to struggle and fight for, those things are priceless, and that's something that really
we were there, and we did a performance at a school of the deaf and disabled. And they had an entire group
in Rio.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And that was, I mean, it was so
Profound.
Emotional and profound. You really saw that, you know, the students that were there were so giving and just in love with being able to share this art with everyone else. That was just, we were all just in tears at the end of that. That was. And we were just like,
so many memories.
Again, this is exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That was kind of the feeling. Like,
wow, what an experience. What are some other like really great memories? How many times have you been to Brazil?
I'm gonna say 5.
5 times.
This will be our 6th time. We're gonna go in December.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Nice. What are some great memories you have?
Oh my goodness.
Of Brazil.
Oh man.
How about that roda in the at Praia do Pepe in Barra da Tijuca? And there another person like kind of came out of the woodworks. Like, you know, I'm one of Mestre Boneco's old students.
Oh, when he did the head spin
Yes.
and his head bled. Yeah.
He
yeah.
you know how the
His head bled?
parallelelepípedo.
Yeah.
He got kicked in the head.
No.
He
The
was
tile.
so pumped that he just jumps in, he starts playing, goes down, negative a whole leg head spin, boom.
on
right?
on the
sidewalk.
on the sidewalk that's uneven.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
On
With the cobblestone
with the, like,
sidewalk
cobblestone sidewalk.
on his
Yes.
head.
Yes.
And my man stood back up, kept
And it
on
was like,
playing,
gushing.
and fools grabbed him like, yo, your head, and he was like, oh,
Just the energy.
Whatever.
whatever. I was like, no.
He was hard too. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's been so many, like, I think
on the beach with Mestre Tony in Leme over
in
there.
Leme. A lot of amazing memories. A lot of the ability to exchange. I think for us, I know I'm speaking for both of us, but you'll probably agree. The special thing about capoeira and training and going back to Brazil to really kind of immerse yourself a little bit more in the culture is the true connection to the history. the Brazilian history, the history of the enslaved Africans that we have to always celebrate and uplift and recognize, because it is so much a part of our culture and our traditions. Capoeira is not, it's very spiritual, but it's not religious, right? It's spiritual because you can have any faith, but connecting to the roots in Brazil really changes the way that you see the art. It changes the way that you teach. It takes it, there's, especially when you work with kids, there's just so much folklore and love and energy that you can, you take from being in the homeland, and just feel blessed that we have that interconnection and are able to, next year we'll take a bunch of students as well, so they can feel that as well, because I think it makes a difference.
It really changed my life being a young man and going over there and just being, everybody's really serious here. Where I'm too serious. And then just going down there, and you can't take yourself too serious with, just the culture. And
music's everywhere.
Music's everywhere. Just the way people are, they're really open, and
we were on.
Got to smile and enjoy life, right?
Greet everybody.
Greet everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember we were on another beach, and one of our friends was like, "Look at this beach." He's like, "There's like 200 black belts on this beach right now."
Seriously.
He was like, "It's okay, just chill out. It's all good." But
we're safe.
You're not only you're safe, but again, like saying, taking yourself, seriously. When you have a community of people that have this
so much talent,
the talent pool is so strong.
Yeah.
Then you humble yourself, and you're allowed to kind of relax, and it's really nice.
There's a lot of crossover, right, with jiu-jitsu and capoeira people. I mean, like you're talking about Pepe Beach. Like that's I started jiu-jitsu when I first went to Brazil, in Rio, in Baja. That's where I lived, and I trained right there. Like 2 blocks away from
Pepe.
Yeah, Praia Pepe, and
it's like a central.
All the cool people, right? Hang out there, and and so
you
all
got
the
your little kiosk that you go to.
Yeah, but it's everybody comes together, all the the who's who, and if it's jiu-jitsu badasses or capoeirista, badass capoeiristas or whoever at that time,
I love how fitness is like on the beach, and I mean that's why Rio is one of the most amazing places to me, because it's so ingrained in the beach culture there. Anytime you look out the window, there's like hundreds of people just training different things. CrossFit, capoeira, functional training, jiu-jitsu prep, like fight prep, like
on the bar.
It's everywhere. It's such a it makes you happy. It energizes you and motivates you, like the vibe of the city. And I learned so much when I
mean, like Rio de Janeiro, I think just from traveling around, just the city, how it is with the mountains coming out of the
it's a city jungle.
In the middle, jungle in the middle with these big old jungle mountains coming out of it, with the beaches all around it. It's just like such an epic, beautiful city.
Beautiful. And there's people are always like, concerned about the violence, but there's that everywhere. We have to take everything with a grain of salt, and we have to try to work to combat that, but celebrate the beauty and the culture and the traditions that are very much part of the city. And we try to, like, kind of circling back, always try to bring as best we can as a gringa brasileira. I don't like that term gringa, but as a Brazilian American, right? I try to bring that vibe as best that I can. And I know that Sean Chegado does as well, to try to transplant that energy into the space, so that people, they feel a little bit of it, like, that friendly vibe, the not that Americans are so different, but we're a little bit different, right? We're different, all the same, but different at the same time, and try to bring that really friendly energy, that axé that we talk about a lot in capoeira. Into our space.
I love to kind of collect art from Rio, and that's what's all over our space. As much as artwork that I can find in Feta Hippie. Different spaces.
I've got one art piece in my house, actually. It's like of Rio, and it's it's not high level, but it's nice, different colors, and it's like the favela, and have some of the viaducts through the city, and the cable
Lapa.
That's sort of what I look forward to. I'm like, I want to have some more art pieces. I want to
such a blessing.
That transmits the vibe.
So how did you guys start the gym, and how did that get going? What was the idea? You guys are training. You guys are loving it. You're
we were
helping. I'm sure teaching, right?
Yeah.
In the
We were before we took over and created Counterbalance, we were actually helping Mestre Boneco run CBLA for many years, because he would go and come from Brazil, and that was in the Mid-City area. And then we ran our classes out of another gym in Eagle Rock. We started in about 2005.
So for like two or 3 days a week, we'd be on the east side, and then the other 2 we would go back and forth. So every week.
2 days?
Yeah,
2 days?
2 or 3 days out there, 2 or 3 days here.
Right.
It was a lot of back and forth.
And that was for years.
So
Before the gas prices doubled and tripled.
I mean, even through that, we went down to one car. We got one car right now. So.
But, it got to a point, it was really weird, right before the pandemic. We had been wanting to open our own space, and we'd been basically kind of partners, subleasing the space that we're in now. The space in Eagle Rock went through a lot of different owners and manifestations, right? So, and we were kind of always there. We had the bulk of the programming, we had the bulk of the students and the clientele, and in the beginning of 2020, the end of 2019 actually, the woman who owned the gym was just like, I'm going to move on. I need to, it's just not quite, I'm not with it anymore. I need to move on. Do you guys want to take over the business? Do you want to buy the business? We kind of negotiated, and, the majority of the infrastructure there, as far as the clientele, was ours already. So we're like, we know we can do this, but we're going to have to kind of step away from CBLA slowly, which was okay because there was someone entering that vacuum. There was a Mestre Axé who was, transitioning to take more leadership position there. So it was working out, and we took over the gym, and then 2 weeks later, after signing a 5-year lease, the pandemic hit, and we had to make a lot of adjustments.
Right?
So luckily,
we have incredible timing.
Yeah, it was amazing timing. After so many years, we decided to do it then. But what we were able to do is we did a hard pivot. We went to 20 online classes a week. We were at parks. We survived the pandemic, and we were able to thrive because we have such a phenomenal community.
I will say we at the time were teaching at Cal Arts, California Institute of the Arts, for the theater program. So we were teaching capoeira for the theater program there. And Cal Arts gave us, they were the canary in the coal mine, right? They were kind of they gave us the early warning signs. They were saying something's happening. We are going to all have to, because this is a major university, we're going to all have to switch to this online platform. It's called Zoom. And we were like, what's
Zoom?
That? Right? And so once, and this is maybe 2 weeks before everything started to go down, roll downhill. So we were quickly got on that, learned what we needed to do for our university classes, and that was able to translate into all of our other instructors that were teaching, and gave us a platform to pivot to.
Keep going.
Because otherwise we wouldn't have, they were the early warning
But we
signs.
hit the ground running. I was like, okay, we just signed this damn lease. This is not going to go down right like this. We just went.
There's no surrender.
We did everything.
No way.
I
Not
wrote
at that point.
200 handwritten notes to all of our students and mailed them out just to send them support and love. We just we shifted to teaching huge classes at the park. And then once we were able to open a little, we opened, and we stayed open because we have 3 walls in our space because it's a loading dock. I mean, we got
kicked out of the park because we had too many people in the park. So
crazy.
they came and kicked us out. They actually followed our Instagram feed. And stalked us, and we're like, you guys can't come over here. And we're like, what about these basketball players right here, man? They over here smoking weed and with 40s and boom boxes and shit, and they can play basketball. They're like, we can't go and mess with them. And
so you guys gotta go.
You came and talked to us. We got
the 8-year-olds were teaching.
Kids and middle-aged folk. You know what I mean? We're like, we're doing the best we can for the community we have here, and it's
so funny now, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what people needed to do to stay healthy and to keep.
It is.
And also, I cannot tell you
It
how many people came to us and said, and this really is for me the most important thing. Thank you for doing everything that you could do to stay open and to survive, because you helped me stay mentally sane. the classes, the connection online in different in different ways really made all the difference, because people really suffered through that loneliness. And we were lucky, we have a strong community, and it also allowed us to invest in other things, learn a little bit more about TACFIT, right? Get involved with steel mace, start kind of constructing what we wanted our space, Counterbalance, to be. Because at the time when we made when we made the decision to take over, everything shut down, so we couldn't get our name, we couldn't get that tax ID number. Like, there was so much stuff on hold, but it allowed us at the same time to build an infrastructure.
Do some of the foundational work. Do the educational work as well. I got through my personal training license, and we started getting certified online by different coaches and other modalities. So it was the folks that were motivating and busting their butt to do everything that you would need to do, so that when we came out of this, we would be stronger for it. We wouldn't be behind the ball. So we came out able to be running instead of
and I mean, we had Quebrado, Professor Quebrado, Coach Q, and Coach Taylor, Saint Para. They have really helped create an infrastructure that is priceless. Like, their energy, their vibe, their intellectual curiosity, their push. They introduced TACFIT. You introduced TACFIT to Coach Q, and I remember years ago being like, well, this is interesting, and he got really invested in it.
Yeah.
And then really
he went all in on 2020 during the beginning of it, because we didn't know what was going to happen, right?
He went all in, and then
we couldn't have done any of this without them.
Oh, for sure. They made the difference.
I said they're like, we stand on some pillars, and they are two of our pillars. I shouldn't bet on this table.
It's okay.
But I'm gonna smash it. Sorry, no. But it has been, and we've been able to motivate each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's been another. We constantly pull each other back up, and it's our communication. The WhatsApp group texts start at like 6:30.
Oh Lord!
You know what I mean? And they ping pong back and forth
until late at night.
Until late at night, and that's what it takes. That's what you gotta have that kind of communication.
I have to say that for me, the biggest victory is, yes, we built the gym where we built it from being students of Mestre Bonecos and like having that vibe and energy, learning so much from him, building that up. And then having students and trainers that are with us that are better than us. Like, for me, that's the biggest victory.
That's right.
It's not me being, there's no cult of personality here. It's not about Sean and Jessica, Pavão and Chegado.
I do not have enough time to learn everything.
It's about Counterbalance. It's about the team.
Yeah, the team.
Like, I feel like that is so important, because when we step away, we want this to thrive, the energy, the vibe, the community to sustain itself, the training to be great, the people coming up from our teaching and learning and growing that same vibe. I think that makes the difference.
The programming, and the people need to be there for that program. And we get a chance to develop this program, but we want to stay away from that sort of personality, that
I only come to his class, or I only come to her class.
That cult of personality idea. If we are going to grow and become something more than Counterbalance, or multiply Counterbalance, then that's something that needs to be able to be scaled up. And it's that program, that community vibe, and that's
culture.
That is scalable. Because I can't multiply Pavão. I can't put her in a million places, or Quebrado. So it has to be about that, and as long as we can keep that on the forefront, then
I feel like we really, right now it's slowly growing. It's on a nice little pace. I really am thankful to the introduction of TACFIT, because it gave us a modality 100%. That really locked in with Capoeira. Like, so much about working with the steel mace and the club bells and the body weight stuff, like all of that it's true functional fitness, and it really locks into our work with capoeira, and also our coach who teaches Kaju Kempo and Muay Thai, like Sigun Jose Ortega. He's great. He also kind of vibes with that, and we're just the flow fit has been like priceless for me. So I really, it's all about counterbalancing your practice, right? Your mindfulness in your training, mindfulness in the way that we program, and try to keep that base level. And also, you know, when you work with kids, you have to have all these things kind of in, maybe they're not doing TACFIT yet, right? Little baby club bells, but they're definitely.
It's the concepts, right?
Right.
It's like the learning, how you learn, simple,
Exactly.
compound, complex. Breaking things down, like you remember when you guys were showing the handstands, right? Like level 1, level 2, right? Like progressions, regressions,
right? Whether you're
and
static,
having
fluid,
everything,
dynamic, you can,
right. That's it's a different way of approaching that with the Viking Ninja, but same thing, right? The same thing.
100%.
To learn, right?
I just want to give a shout out to Sigun Jose also. Jose Ortega has been part of our community since the beginning, since
the days at XTC.
Since the days when we
XTC,
didn't have
wow.
counterfeit.
Remember XTC?
Since the days when we didn't have counterbalance, when we were at XTC across the street. And
that long, huh?
And his program is incredible. He's an incredible instructor. He has been working and promoting Kaju Kempo throughout. He goes to fights. His kids train. They come back with medals. They are a huge part of our family over there.
Again, it's the team. Like if you don't have the
absolutely.
team.
And again, he's someone that we could not have done this without as well.
I mean, your space is beautiful. You guys are all in. I mean, the pandemic was a test, right? And like either like it's just a job, or like you're in it for the money, or you're all in. You're all in with this thing. I think it was a test for all of us. You know.
Heck yeah.
What do you stand for? What are you about?
Yeah. What perseverance?
Do you believe in this? You know, do you believe in this?
Is this going to take you to the next level in your life? In your career?
Yeah. And I remember too, like, you know, it's like, well, yes, we're talking about the students, but like my sanity, like I need these guys, you know. What am I gonna do? I remember at the beginning I had Alexandre here, and you know, we didn't have the Zoom thing yet, you know, but Quebrado, he came in right away. We talked about stuff. And things move faster right away, but we just did Facebook Live. I remember the first week or the first couple of days, you know, because I teach a noon class.
What are you doing?
And we just, you know, we didn't, you know, jiu-jitsu. How can you do it on
it's really hard
on video, right?
Yeah.
Zoom,
and so we just had a guitar. He's like playing. We just you know, we're just hanging out with everybody, and everybody dialed in. And we're just hanging out because all of us were like, you had to stay at home.
Yeah.
I mean.
What were you supposed to do?
It's such a blur. It's such a
I was like,
we're hanging out with our new class, you know, we're just playing the guitar and just hanging out.
Or we would sit down.
Jiu-jitsu philosophy.
We would sit down for our, you know, we would set up our Zoom or whatever for our class, and then we'd figure out what we were going to do, whatever. And then, boom, you got all the people on there, and you're doing a thing, and you're
hanging
like,
out,
oh, man,
talking,
I love you guys. Thanks for showing
We did
up.
like Zoom party. It's crazy.
Zoom, right? And then everybody's like, okay, bye. We'll see you next class. Click. And then crickets for the next hours and hours. You're like, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You're like, it was.
Man, you know, there was a surreal moment with me. You know, do you guys meet Alexandre?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were, you know, he was staying up here too in the apartment before, and you know, the street's really busy, Victory Boulevard here in Burbank, and we sat down on the curb, and usually you can't sit on the curb because there's so many cars, and Martino's across the street. It was open, so we went and got a little espresso, and we just like, you couldn't sit inside, or maybe you could at the time. You know, they changed things, right? But we sat on the curb, and there was no cars in the street. It was like the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's like
it was like so busy. Yeah, and we're just looking at each other, just like, you know, we're keeping the routine.
Yeah.
We're keeping the routine.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we have our espresso. Yeah, we're at 11 o'clock. You know, have before class. You know. And we're just looking around like, man, this is crazy, you know. We just kind of took a snapshot in our memories, you know, and just us sitting together on the curb.
Yeah.
And just no cars in the street, like no cars in the street on one of the busiest streets.
It's surreal. It's
and
surreal.
like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, what's next?
I was in our gym after, you know, because we were the only ones that were allowed to come in there. We had already signed the lease. You know, so we had some Zoom classes that were online. We were like, well, we might as well go to the gym and teach. We don't have to be at home. And I was in there. I'm just painting a wall, and I'm just trying to figure out like what else can I do in this downtime.
Right,
like I'm trying to make
so you don't lose your mind, right?
So you don't lose. Yeah. And I'm
healthy.
somebody that has to be making something all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I think I was in there like doing Rubik's cubes and painting walls.
He can do it like in 2 minutes. He's like
I
a
gotta figure out
super
nerd.
He's a super science nerd over here.
So I was trying to figure out something to do. I gotta stay busy.
But you know, and the interesting thing is, you know, he does that for 20 years. He his other life, he's an actor, and so he's been acting since he was like 12 years old, done a bunch of different little things, and a big thing coming out soon.
That's true.
But he does this tour every summer, right?
Yeah,
for
we were talking about
colleges.
that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But we talked about it the team up, you know.
At the team up, yeah.
Yeah, the TACFIT team up.
It is. It's
So you guys hosted at Eagle Rock at Counterbalance.
it was amazing.
It's been almost around in my life since Capoeira. It has been. I work with a company called Playfair, and we do giant freshman orientation shows. So it's a one-person show. You'll go out to a college or a university, and you prepare a group of students that are the upperclassmen. They're like the RAs or the orientation leaders, and they will help you as assistants. And then all of the first-year students or freshmen enter the room, and you get a chance to have them make friends. And that's what we are there to do. We're there to help facilitate them learning about each other through giant group social games. And those games are non-competitive games. And so all of those games have supported the work that we've done in Capoeira as well. Because just like in a play fair or a group icebreaker, you're constantly working these games that don't have points. So just like Capoeira doesn't have points, we don't have a scoreboard.
Well, there are competitions that have points.
There are competitions.
But if you're playing Capoeira in a roda, just you know, it's
a
not,
different thing. Yeah.
It's a different thing. So it is more like a game of hide and seek or tag or these rock paper scissors.
Something always beats something else.
These are games that that we play together.
I just love telling my kids I'm the best at paper, rock, scissors.
Yeah,
You know, nobody can beat me. Just to mess with them, you know.
Of rock, paper,
But
scissors
you know, he did this show on Zoom. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, wow.
We did.
With like hundreds of people online because the schools still have.
And you go to different colleges, universities. You were explaining to me
Yep.
when we had the team up, and yeah, you basically do these icebreaker things to have people become closer and have more friends, right?
Have more friends.
Because when they have friends, when they know people,
their amount of their ability to stay in school increases by like 70% once they have a cohort that they come in with. Yeah. So it is just essential for people, especially because they're freshmen. They've just been in high school and now they've been living with their folks or whoever for their whole lives. And for most of them, this is their first time they're stepping out. They're getting new roommates. They're learning how to live on their own. Yeah. A lot is going on. The pressure is super heavy. So the building a quick community of friends is a way to help release that pressure and allow some different anchors to take place. And that's what they need. They need, especially in the beginning, with so much happening.
Especially now with like the mental health, there's a lot of mental health concerns across the country. I mean, around the world, but I feel like in the United States we're hitting kind of an epidemic. A lot of like depression and loneliness, and you know.
Playfair has been around for I think 40 years. So a lot of people that are listening to this podcast.
It's not the first.
You may remember this.
This is important, right?
Yeah. This is you come right out of your matriculation ceremony, and you come right into this show, and that's us. There's about 30 of us active right now that are out doing college. We probably do about 600 colleges a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
70%. Your rate is improved by 70%.
If you come in with a cohort, meaning like
a friend, you have a friend.
You meet some
you connect
quick
with
friends.
someone. You know what I mean?
We have to get
You connect with someone, one person, right? Is all that it takes.
it,
Right?
it can
One friend.
It can
Yeah.
it can be one person.
It's just
It can be
really
your first college buddy, and that's a game we play. But it can be just one person.
What's
that
one of the
helps you.
game? What are some of the games you play?
We do a large version of Ultimate Rock Paper Scissors. That's probably the most like climactic moment of the show. There is, and that's you playing rock paper scissors. Then the person that you beat, they become your biggest fan, like the
okay.
captain of your fan club.
So they cheer you
So
on
they
as you
start
go to
cheering
someone
you
else.
on. So you keep beating people larger in a larger and larger number, and you get a larger and larger entourage of like screaming fans until you have these last two.
Ah.
And now we're talking about this can be done with like 50 people or 5,000 people. So our large shows, my largest show,
That's an epic moment, huh? When you have like
it's huge. Yeah.
I think his largest
2,500 people, maybe
Yeah.
thousands of people cheering for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
What's your
2,500
largest
is a
show?
good
I
size
think it
show.
was University of Texas at Austin.
5,000 is where I probably max out at. That's like Texas State and Baylor University that's another 5,000
It's
group
huge.
show. Yeah.
But he's like in a stadium, with
Yeah.
the DJ, and it's not like a small.
No, it's not small. No,
But the
it
cool
can
thing
be
is
small. It can be.
These
300
games
people.
have really he's translated so many of these games in our training.
Mm-hmm. What they are improv theater games, mostly. So they are compatible with capoeira in a way that other games just are, you find lacking. Capoeira is improvisational. It is a movement language. So when you're looking for games to translate into capoeira, it is something like an improvisational theater game that can really be the link that a lot of people need. And capoeira attracts a lot of people that have that are looking for that sort of connection.
Yeah.
And we found that those work they're like magic spells. Like you can.
It's all about that connection, right?
It's
Yeah.
all about that connection.
Human
Yeah.
connection.
Move, connect, transform. That's what our master says.
Yeah, it's
Not on the phone connection, Facebook friends, but
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
real like
that
human
original
connection.
OG, yeah,
That's
that's
why.
what.
That's why
Continuity.
we really wanted to do that TACFIT team up, because we're like, the TACFIT community is so rich, so many different people. There's so much to share. Having you there, having Isak there, that really was. That was
Super special.
super special.
Yeah.
We got such great feedback. People just were like, of course, next time we're a perfectionist, but there's so many things that we can change and do more of. We want to have more opportunities to connect with the TACFIT community. But it was kind of bringing the vibe that we do for Capoeira and try to bring that, kind of encompass it into the TACFIT vibe, which is so mindful. And
In Capoeira we have batizados, and that is our time to invite other guests, for them to teach workshops, for new students to take workshops and commute and hang out and talk to other people from other groups and other masters, other teachers. So that is that vibe she's talking about, that essence that we wanted to kind of
I
do
get
with,
it,
with the team.
For jiu-jitsu, it's like tournaments. You see your old friends from 20, 30. It's like a come together, or everybody comes together for these
seminars
events.
that you guys
Or
do.
it's Muay Thai, it's like the fights, right?
Fights,
you
right.
support your guys, and then and then for TACFIT, for me, it's always been like those certifications, because people come together. It's like more high pressure,
Yeah.
You learn
to
so
perform.
much, and we're excited about hosting our first certification at Counterbalance.
Steel mace, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the
Ninja, Steel
whole
Mace.
room swinging 360s.
I'm looking forward to being there. Yeah, and seeing that.
I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be amazing.
That's going to be amazing. We've really fallen in love with the steel mace. Kind of.
Oh yeah.
It's really helped me a lot.
The tool by itself is so.
You
it's
guys
so
have
unique.
definitely gravitated towards the steel mace, right? You get like all the other stuff, club bells and everything else.
But I just told Taylor, I got to say that I Taylor trains me. I really want to get more intimate with the club bells, because the club bells are such an amazing tool, and I use them when I train TACFIT, but I'm not as intimate with them.
I see those two as really like heads and tails, because if you're looking for a closed chain exercise, you have that steel mace. If you're looking for an open chain exercise, you have those club bells. And I think that by itself if you can consider that, then that makes those two instruments just connect with each other. You should have, be working towards getting better with both of those, because they are developing different pathways in your brain, but that those pathways are sharing those same links. And that closed chain versus open chain, having both of those and knowing that you can turn to one or turn to the other is awesome. I do feel like it's like the other side of the coin.
And I just really, I vibe with that kill your ego thing, because the mace is humbling.
I like what Issa said about controlling the chaos. Like you are trying to control the chaos, both with the mace, the steel mace, and with the club bells. It can't get away from you. You've got to get it back down to
control
order.
The chaos.
And that's just that always stuck in my mind. I'm like, that's a great quote right there. When you're swinging these instruments, it's really trying to take you out of your structure, and you fighting against that is
what makes you stronger.
Yeah, is what's
for
awesome.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And that's so helpful for capoeira. So helpful.
How have you seen TACFIT and the principles and these things improve maybe your health, your body, and then your students?
Well, for me,
great question.
Like the shoulder girdle strength. So much of my upper body strength has been cultivated with that steel mace, and just having working that core stability. Also identifying those places that I have lacks that I need to improve. The flow
maybe some restrictions in your body.
The flow fit has really helped. As we get older, we all struggle, right?
Yeah.
And I've been struggling with knees a lot this year, sciatica, but the knees really kind of took me out of my capoeira flow. Flow fit helps a lot. That kind of like getting into that space of just flowing for 20 minutes and identifying those limitations and breathing through them. It's just
hanging out there, getting your body, mind body connection, right, in those 100%. Areas.
The mindfulness of it, just and that it's recovery based. So I think when we all started training, we started training 25 years ago, the exercise science was different, and of course it's all about hardcore, just go hard.
Hard is better.
And then as we get older, we're like, hold on a second. This is a marathon, not a race, at least for me, and I want to be practicing. I want this practice to last my entire life. So the flow fit and the TACFIT has really helped to rein me in. Like, okay, let's find where you're lacking. Let's develop it. Let's cultivate it. Let's work it. And also just like the mobility, the interflow is like fundamental. It makes a difference for me. It really does.
My story is I was coming off of a hip replacement.
Hip replacement.
A full hip replacement on my left side.
Yeah.
Even before that, in 2012, I had bone spurs on my hip as well, and on my other
side.
On my other.
It's a lot of landing those jumps, right?
So that's where I'm going to go to next. Exactly. Is that
a lot of overuse, right?
I started acrobatics when I was 9 years old, 10 years old. I was flipping gymnastics through.
Not always on mats, right? Concrete.
Concrete.
I mean, mats until I was like, I don't know, 15, and then I already could front. I had like a group of friends in high school. We would flip off walls. We'd run through our school, flip off benches, right? Trying to impress girls. We're trying to bust moves off a thing, and then my first martial art was Muay Thai. I had an uncle that came back from the Marines and was just gung ho, Muay Thai. That's all we did. So I didn't find capoeira until I was 19, but from like young age, from like 9 till I was, I still fought Muay Thai till I was like 23. So I had
You were telling us that
tons
Muay
of
Thai story, right?
yeah, man. Oh man. So I had like
the guy was the guy who wanted to pay you. Like he's like, what was that?
in
Was this story?
Thailand? Oh,
No, the Burbank.
It was here in
Burbank
LA.
Hilton.
Oh, this guy, yeah. That was it was supposed to be a smoker fight over here at the Burbank Hilton at the hand of his hat, he was. There's no such thing as
He's like,
an exhibition. Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be.
When the bell goes, there's
And
no
he didn't really
exhibition.
want to do it. He was like your friend, right?
He was an acquaintance. I mean, he was kind of like a guy that popped in and popped out of class, and I was like, I could definitely whoop this dude. So, Hakeem, if you're listening to me, I'll whoop you again, bro. No, but listen. And I was like, yeah, for sure, I'll do that. Why not? Why not?
It was
Let's
a
go.
smoker, and he invited you, or who?
And he invited me, yeah.
Okay.
It was one of those
Like
things where
super last minute.
it was one of those
Okay.
things where like they can't fill out the card, right?
There's
And
like no pay. It's just
Yeah.
for the.
No, they
for,
paid.
They paid.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Get
It
there and
wasn't a
you know,
lot, but they paid.
Yeah, it was like
$50.
Like, no, it was like 400 actually.
Yeah,
$400.
Yeah,
Damn,
no,
all right.
I'll fight somebody for $400.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll do that.
I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. How much? All right, let's go. So
No
yeah,
training,
we came out.
just
No,
you know.
zero.
No, I mean because I was already just training capoeira.
I think you were
at
like
that point.
26 or something,
Yeah.
27. Yeah.
I was I had a different fight at it was called Superbox in downtown, and Crew Voot was running Superbox. That was before this, so that was like around when I was like 22, 23.
Oh my God.
I've been
Downtown
hitting
must have been amazing then.
Oh,
that was
I
like
mean,
30
yeah,
years ago. Not
Yeah,
25 years.
downtown was
Scary.
full of heroin at that point. That was a terrible place to be at that point. So I had a bunch of maladaptations, right? Lots of impact and
Overuse, right?
Overuse. When I started doing capoeira, there was lots of, I was already acrobatic, so I just went more acrobatic. Now we started twisting, now we started doing performances everywhere on, at the school, down the street, in a parade,
Auditions,
at an
just-
audition. It was just
Not enough warm-up.
Nonstop. So,
Not
you
properly
just-
warming up,
you
right?
just wear those. Yeah, you wear out that.
Like when
that-
nobody know it, like, man, how about some into flow, right? I'm getting
No.
getting all those
None of
putting
that.
all those
Oh,
things
no.
online.
I mean, you were
Like why once you start doing it, you're like, why doesn't everybody train like
why
this,
didn't everybody
right?
train like that? Right. Right.
Yeah, there's.
Re-
I mean, if you
releasing
could go back in
tension after you
time.
train, after you do all those
Compensation,
crazy
yeah.
hodas, you know?
Like a compensation was like a beer. You know what I mean? Like people did not like people were not like
Pretty much, yeah.
compensating
Turn
anything.
off that nervous system, right?
You know, that's what it was back then. So, so once I was got into the still mace, I needed something that was, I needed to do my rehab. I needed to do squats, lunges, lateral lunges. I needed to do all of those
Different movement patterns.
regular like rehab things. But I'm also trying to get back into my own workout, my own what I'm used to. So the spinning and that circular strength, the working through those patterns while doing those squats and lunges and having an off balance weight forced me to try to recenter myself. Even with because of course something like a hip surgery like this, you're going to feel like you were all the way off on one side. So the feedback is what I think is the most unique part about those instruments, because you're using this centrifugal force and you're working either this closed chain or this open chain exercise. The feedback that your nervous system is getting was just much more clear than anything with a dumbbell or a kettlebell or something like that. So for me, it was
very challenging, right?
for me,
On all
it was
different levels, yeah.
that level of feedback of knowing which side I needed to press more on or where I was weak, and like you're saying, like some of the weaknesses that you developed, all of those acrobatics, most acrobats will do everything on one side. we in Capoeira will try to do everything on both sides, but that's not
You
what
always
you
you always
you've
favor a
always
side.
your
been-
go-tos are going to be still
But
Your
you've
favorite
always
side.
been good on both sides. Like that's been like your claim to fame.
the well, it was
But
it
it's
was
very
I was
rare. Very
trying to compensate because I know I have a good side, but if I work some of my bad side, then I can try to equalize them.
Yeah.
But if I'm at an audition or whatever, I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna for sure do my good
Best
side.
side, yeah.
If I'm playing someone in a Honda, I'll try my other side.
Yeah.
So it's a subconscious thing. It's your neuromuscular patterns. You know what You're right-handed. You're left-handed. It's just natural.
And I think our students have seen our own transformation through the use of TACFIT and through the use of like in Ninja Steel Mace, through the Interflow, through the FlowFit. We've tried to lead by example. They see Coach Q, they see Coach Taylor, they see us, and they're like, okay, it's working for them. They're the leadership. So we are lucky that a lot of the people that train Capoeira are now cross-training TACFIT, right? And then we're bringing new people in that are not Capoeiristas, that don't do, any other martial arts with us, but are finding TACFIT as well to kind of complement their training and spark their recovery.
I hope that when people see us or view us, that they do know that we've gone through this path, because if you are watching closely, and if you're listening to this podcast, you know that I have a full hip replacement on my left side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you see me do what I'm doing on a daily basis in my class, then you should know that you can get over whatever it is that you need to get over, and that you can use some of these tools to help you get there. Straight up.
Well said. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, check it out. Look.
Yeah.
And I don't do a whole bunch of videos of myself, but still, there are some out there.
Yeah.
There's some.
Yeah. I mean, for like TACFIT makes you better at everything, right? It's
Yeah.
Capoeira, Jiu-Jitsu. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't do any martial arts, just that life, right?
Yeah.
And so it's nice to kind of, even if they don't come in for Capoeira, like maybe they start doing TACFIT and they're like, oh, I want to try this.
There's a lot of
Capoeira stuff.
cross-pollination.
Like you guys
Oh, yeah.
got Isak doing some
Oh my
Capoeira,
God,
right?
that was amazing.
Like-
That was amazing.
You know it. It's in here. It's in there. Come on, dog. You got it.
That's pretty cool.
It's been a blessing. We're super lucky people. I feel so
We're
thankful.
lucky because we get
Yeah.
to do what we love.
Yeah.
That's when that's
it.
when it's
That's it.
it's never a day of work when you're doing what you love. Something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we,
There's some
we try to
quote like
surround
that.
ourselves with people that are like-minded, And you've been such an inspiration to us, just kind of to see what you've built here at
100%.
Legacy, and how you really took things by took charge of TACFIT and made it more viable, and I think that for us, that's really like. For me, I love to see people around me succeed because it inspires me, it motivates me. We follow our teacher, Mestre Boneco, and then we follow examples in the community. Like, it's so important to have someone like you so close by that, you can look how Alberto's doing that. Did you see that? Did you see what he just posted? Oh, that's so cool. For us, it's not about hate or competition. There's no place for that. None of us are going to win if we're like that. We don't have to have that. We can't have that mindset. The mindset needs to be, how can we support and grow together? Because if we can't support and grow together, no one's going to win. Or one guy is going to win and then he's going to fall off because something crappy is going to happen because of that energy that you put into the universe.
Yeah.
So we want to support each other, other Capoeira schools, other TACFIT schools, other legacies,
There's enough for everybody if you do a good job.
Exactly.
Right?
Thank you.
You do the right things.
That's
and
right.
just know, stand on your
That's
own 2
right.
feet and just be worried about growing what you have and helping those around you. I think that really kind of
This is a city of millions. And
Right.
there's
10 million.
Right.
of millions, 10 million people,
And-
right? So, if there are enough of us doing the right work, then we can spread all of our we can spread health and wellness to a lot of people.
yeah.
Health and wellness. Yeah. Well said. Well, thank you guys for
Thanks for
thank you
having
guys
us.
for your professionalism, all the work that you guys have been doing, building community, helping people with everything, right? With their lives, with their health and wellness. I love seeing you guys involved in TACFIT and all the Viking Ninja, and it's just it's amazing from that first workshop that Skassana did, right?
That breathing workshop.
The breathing workshop.
Oh no, I'm not good at breathing. I gotta work on it.
I was like, I didn't know there were so many ways to breathe. It's like, yo.
It's been such a blessing. Thank you so much.
But having super talented people like you guys, and just in this, it's a really big blessing for me. And I love you guys. You guys are amazing people, and really grateful for your friendship.
Such a
driving force.
A driving force. Thank you. And you've actually been a picture of like humility to us too. Like it is seeing how you organize and come into class and the respect of everyone around you. Just you're an inspiration, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.